right, get your cardio in this morning. Little chair dancing, bobbing around, so we get ready to rock and roll. Talk about everything that's happening. And holy crap, there's all kinds of stuff happening. What's going on in the world today? We got Tobot, Mariano, John. Good morning. Welcome, you guys. Man, what a day. Okay, we can't listen to that again. We got to listen to something else. I'm okay with this, though, at least to get it started. Good morning, everybody. Hey, I'm just getting all fired up for everything today. We're going to be talking about so much stuff, and a lot of it is federal, international, but it all affects us here in the CNMI. Could you believe it? Could you believe it? And you know what? I still am on the side of, hey, you got to do the Zen Master thing. We'll see. That's the thing. We'll see is the answer. We'll see. Oh, that's great. We'll see. Oh, that's terrible. We'll see. Well, we're going to find out. Good morning, April. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Man, I love this opening. Woo! Brad, what's in that coffee? Okay, relax. It's just coffee. Although, you know what? The idea of like some Baileys or Kahlua, I have some at home. Why do I not just bring it in? Although I'll tell you what, the thing I like the best is when I was in Vermont visiting some real good friends of ours, and they have their own version of Baileys, but it's with maple syrup kind of creamer. It's a maple creamer. I forget what they call it, but either way, trying to get that sent out here is almost impossible. It is so hard to get that kind of stuff shipped, but it's a real local thing. So it's like, hey, you go to places, everybody's got their own local thing that's awesome. Well, that's one of the things I thought was awesome. Peeling Gazette-Mo, good morning. Thanks for tuning in, and great to see you also. Thank you, guys. All right, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff because there's like all hell breaking loose all over the place. So we can get going with, should we just at least get you traffic, maybe get you started with that? Let's do that before we get too far away from it. I want to make sure that we get you guys updated with traffic at the top of the show because yesterday, I don't even know if we got to it. And I wanted to, but then we're going to be talking about all this stuff that's been coming out in the last little bit. And then we're going to have Landon Adlet coming in from National Weather Service. Our meteorologist out of Guam is going to be on the show with us a little bit later. He's actually on his way to the weather headquarters down there in Guam by the airport right now. So in the meantime, though, let's let you see what's happening with traffic on our first day of the Lunar New Year. That's right. That's probably terrible pronunciation. That's all right. This is what we're looking at over there. Not too bad over there by Aslito and the Dan Shell gas station intersection. Not sexy, but it's doing just fine. People are moving along just fine. And over there, again, they closed off another one of the lanes by NMC, but they're creeping closer. They're only closing it off right now because they're paving that area. They're carving up part of that concrete that they put down as the stopgap, and now they're putting down the really good pavement on it. So that's happening today, and hopefully they'll be open up all four lanes good to go. Everything looking okay in Chalanquiza until you get over there by the IT&E intersection. It is a little bit slow for folks who are making their way up the hill and making their way south along Middle Road. By the time you get to IT&E, you might as well pop in and get yourself like one of the cool new cell phones or tablets. They got everything going on. If you're trying to get over there by the old AK intersection, it's a little slow as well. And that's right behind us on the road. In fact, we could show you a little bit here. I'll put that top corner. You can see what that delay looks like to you out there because that's it. It is just slow outside of us and just past us. Probably waiting on a light. Probably waiting on a school bus. In fact, I see a school bus right there on the screen. So that's a big piece of it for the folks who are trying to head south. But hey, it's moving. People are getting there. It does get a little congested when you get closer to that intersection. That's the whole main thing. All right, so just keep that in mind as you're driving that way. Let's go south. Let's take a look over at Chalampiao area. It's a little bit slow over by Mount Carmel and by the post office. And really, today's not that bad over there at Chalampiao. That's right, not a bad spot at all. We're just scrolling by through Papago. It's a little bit slow through there. That's got to be guaranteed bus stop. Over there on your way to Cagman, it's a little slow over at the intersection too. So be careful. You're coming down that hill, speeding around in any direction. Make sure that you're going to be just fine. Hey, Louisa, great to see you. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Now we're looking at the base of Capitol Hill over there at Middle Road, Issa Drive and Middle Road, and looking just fine. How about Puerto Rico? Things looking pretty good. It's definitely slowing down, though, at the Navy Hill Tennis Court intersection. It is definitely going to be slow. If you're trying to go south, it's slow. You're trying to go north, it's slow. Trying to go east, slow. Trying to go west, hey, guess what? It's slow. That is just a slow intersection right now. It is like the United Colors of Benetton when it comes to the traffic colors over there. So that's your first look at traffic over here at 7:34 a.m. And we got lots for you today. Again, I know we would get to the Associated Press update, and I do. I have so much from you. But I think the big things that are happening that everyone's talking about is what's up with this big funding pause thing, right? And let's talk about what's going on with the ICE raids that were happening yesterday. So I had some unofficial conversations. Good morning, Travis. Good morning, Marcia. Great to see you too. Marcia. Hey, Lou, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go and I'm going to get you guys the video. I've got live, it's not live now, but it was live earlier, for the press secretary for the president, and where she talks a lot about, that funding pause. In fact, I mean, we could almost roll with that first. But I'm not. I'm going to, JJ, good morning. I'm going to give you this first. This is, I had a conversation with somebody who shall remain nameless. But no, I had some folks that were able to give me a little bit more insight on what was going on with all the raid stuff that we were talking about yesterday morning, right? And there wasn't a whole lot of info that's on there. So officially. So we can't get a whole lot, but these are people who are really close to this. Also, good morning, Lou, and good morning, Arlene. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so what they were saying is that, I'm scrolling through to get to it. I said, basic thing is we're not stopping random people asking for papers. We're going after existing targets. But when we find those present around these targets, they'll be subject to identification too, and they're out of status. They're subject to possible arrest. That's it. And every one of these targets have prior criminal history. We spent the last 4 years developing these lists, and that's all it is. We know there's a lot of overstayers. They're not the primary mission. It's the troublemakers. If you're law-abiding, but you're out of status, don't be caught around the criminals. So that's basically it. I said a few of the cab drivers that they know were absconders or offenders, and that's what that was. They weren't primarily going after anybody with a particular side job. Let's see. And it's not all Chinese folks that they're going after either. They had folks from China, Bangladesh, FSM, and the Philippines that they got. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, and getting some things cleared up about the nature of their office in Gualarai. They actually detain people over at DOC. They've got an agreement with the U.S. Marshals. But all of this, again, it's not random. They're not going door to door looking for people who are overstaying and all that stuff. But they are, they've got people that they've been looking for a while, and then they are actually just going out after them. And that's about it. That's the update with regards to that. As more info comes in, I'll get it to you for sure. But that's what we got right now about that. All right, so let's talk about some of these funding things because everybody's talking about this. This is a big deal. That's why, I don't have to cover the story about the guy who got a speeding ticket. I could cover the stories that we think that are the ones that you guys care about, right? And this is one of the ones that you care about for sure. So let's get what we got from the press secretary first. I want to get that queued up for you so you can see that. There was a reporter who asked this specific question about this. So here, let's get this. This is from the president's new press secretary.
Caroline, just on a substantive question, yesterday the White House Office of Management and Budget directed across the board freeze, with some exceptions for individual assistance, we understand, to federal grants. It's caused a lot of confusion around the country among Head Start providers, among providers services to homeless veterans, Medicaid providers, states saying they're having trouble accessing the portal. Could you help us clear up some of the confusion, give some certainty to folks, and also, is that uncertainty, how does that uncertainty service the president's voters?
Well, I think there's only uncertainty in this room amongst the media. There's no uncertainty in this building. So let me provide the certainty and the clarity that all of you need. This is not a blanket pause on federal assistance and grant programs from the Trump administration. Individual assistance, that includes, I'm not naming everything that's included, but just to give you a few examples, Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, food stamps, welfare benefits, assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted by this pause. And I want to make that very clear to any Americans who are watching at home who may be a little bit confused about some of the media reporting. This administration, if you are receiving individual assistance from the federal government, you will still continue to receive that. However, it is the responsibility of this president and this administration to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. That is something that President Trump campaigned on. That's why he has launched DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, who is working alongside OMB. And that's why OMB sent out this memo last night, because the president signed an executive order directing OMB to do just this. And the reason for this is to ensure that every penny that is going out the door is not conflicting with the executive orders and actions that this president has taken. So what does this pause mean? It means no more funding for illegal DEI programs. It means no more funding for the Green New scam that has cost American taxpayers tens of billions of dollars. It means no more funding for transgenderism and wokeness across our federal bureaucracy and agencies. No more funding for Green New Deal social engineering policies. Again, people who are receiving individual assistance, you will continue to receive that. And President Trump is looking out for you by issuing this pause because he is being good steward of your taxpayer dollars.
Thanks, Caroline.
Sure.
How long is this pause going to last, and how is the Trump administration recommending that organizations that rely on federal funding make payroll, pay their rent in the meantime?
It is a temporary pause, and the Office of Management and Budget is reviewing the federal funding that has been going out the door. Again, not for individual assistance, but for all of these other programs that I mentioned. I also spoke with the incoming director of OMB this morning, and he told me to tell all of you that the line to his office is open for other federal government agencies across the board, and if they feel that programs are necessary and in line with the president's agenda, then the Office of Management and Budget will review those policies. I think this is a very responsible measure. Again, the past 4 years, we've seen the Biden administration spend money like drunken sailors. It's a big reason we've had an inflation crisis in this country, and it's incumbent upon this administration to make sure, again, that every penny is being accounted for honestly.
Why impose this pause with so little notice? Why not give organizations more time to plan for the fact that they are about to lose, in some cases, really crucial federal funding, at least for a period of time?
There was notice. It was the executive order that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring, as you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working, and their tax dollars actually matter to this administration. You know, just during this pause, DOGE and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. DOGE and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on, being good stewards of tax dollars.
And so this doesn't affect Meals on Wheels or Head Start or disaster aid?
Again, it does not affect individual assistance that's going to Americans.
To follow up on Nancy, do you think there will be a list of who is affected and how much money is affected? How will these contractors and organizations know if they are actually having their funding frozen? And then secondly, if you're willing, can you just clarify, is the end goal of this to essentially challenge Congress or to prove that the president can withhold federal funding? In other words, is this an attempt to pick a fight to prove that he can do this?
No, absolutely not. As it says right here in the memo, which I have, and I'd encourage all of you to read it, it says the American people elected President Trump to be the president of the United States and gave him a mandate to increase the impact of every federal dollar. This memo requires federal agencies to identify and review all federal financial assistance programs and supporting activities consistent with the president's policies and requirements. The American people gave President Trump an overwhelming mandate on November 5th, and he's just trying to ensure that the tax money going out the door in this very bankrupt city actually aligns with the will and the priorities of the American people.
Will there be a line?
Yes. Welcome. You look great. You're doing a great job. You talked about transparency, and some of us in this room know how just transparent President Trump has been the last 5 or 6 years. I think you'll do the same. My question is, do you think this latest incident with the president of Colombia is indicative of the global, powerful respect they have for President Trump moving forward, not only to engage in economic diplomacy with these countries, but also world peace?
Absolutely. I'll echo the answer that the president gave on Air Force One last night when he was asked a very similar question by one of your colleagues in the media. This signifies peace through strength is back. And
All right, I'm just going to pause it there for a moment, and we could talk about like all those individual things, but I think the big takeaway that people here are more interested in is finding out how this is going to affect us here in the Marianas, right? I mean, that's the big deal. And so let me pull up again. We did talk about this quite a bit, but here is the, excuse me. Let's share it on the screen with you guys so you can see it too. And this is the whole thing. Any program not implicated by the president's executive order is not subject to the pause. The executive orders listed in the guidance are protecting the American people against invasion, reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid, putting America first in international environmental agreements, unleashing American energy, ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing, defending women from gender ideology extremism, and restoring biological truth to the federal government, and enforcing the Hyde Amendment. You know, I don't know what the Hyde Amendment is, but I am interested in finding out what that is, though. And you guys are going to find out when I do what the heck the Hyde Amendment is. But that's part of what it is. And you know, while they were saying that it was pretty specific, it still seemed really incredibly vague. Okay, so this is the one of the things that were signed, the executive orders that were signed in when President Trump took office. Does it actually give the Hyde Amendment on here? Enacted that. No, it doesn't really say anything. What is the Hyde Amendment is what it is. It's legislation. It's a legislative provision barring the use of federal funds to pay for abortion. Okay, that's what it is. All right, so now I know what that is. And hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Sasha. Thanks for tuning in. Tobot, thanks for being here. Ray, Eric, thanks for being here. Great to see all you guys. All right, let me turn this part down just a little bit. So those are just some of the things that that they're discussing in there. Now, they said that individual aid to folks is not going to be affected unless it contradicts some of the things that are in here as well. So here we go. It says, is this a freeze on all federal financial assistance? No, the pause does not apply across the board. It's expressly limited to programs, projects, and activities implicated by the president's executive orders, such as ending DEI, the Green New Deal, and funding non-governmental organizations that undermine national interest. Well, I'll tell you what, it's funny listening to the new spokesperson speak. Isn't she just a prettier version of Sean Spicer? Like, I mean, that guy came out like all guns blazing, pow, pow, pow. This was the most people who ever attended inauguration, period. Like, holy cow. That was a little crazy. But when she's out there throwing stuff around like the Green New Scam and blah, blah, blah. And then that other reporter who, I got to say reporter, who asked that question is like, first of all, you look great. You're doing a great job. Okay, is this another step in the direction of this brilliant, strong strength through, and like, oh, come on, dude. Give me a break. Hey, I'm not against all this stuff, but I'm telling you that it's so, that guy, if he's not trying to get favorable access to power, then, I don't know what he is. All right, so here's a big thing that could affect us here, right? Question is this a freeze on benefits to Americans like the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program or student loans? The answer is no. Any program that provides direct benefits to Americans is explicitly excluded from the pause and exempted from this review process. In addition to Social Security and Medicare, already explicitly excluded in the guidance, mandatory programs, like Medicaid and SNAP will continue without pause. That's it. That's the big part. In addition to Social Security and Medicare, already explicitly excluded from the pause in the guidance, mandatory programs like Medicaid and SNAP will continue without pause. So there you go, folks. The most important part to, I think, a lot of people here. Now, there's more, though, that people are going to be interested in. It says funds for small businesses, farmers, Pell Grants, a big deal for NMC, Head Start, rental assistance, and other similar programs will not be paused. If agencies are concerned that these programs may implicate the president's executive orders, they should consult OMB to begin to unwind these objectionable policies without pause in the payments. All right? So hopefully that clears it up. That's a great question. I think it's the question I'm talking to is in the comments says, what will be affected then specifically? Great question. Okay, great question. I think they're purposefully vague in this. They're like, hey, if it, they feel that they're able to stand on a box and say, well, it's clear. We said exactly what it is. It's the executive orders listed in the guidance. I just like to do the voices. All right, don't hate me. Well, it says, here's the list of things in there, right down the middle. There are, for you guys looking on the camera, it's over there. There we go, something like that. It's weird. It's right in front of me here. All right, so it says, protecting the American people against invasion. What does that mean? I don't know. Reevaluating and realigning the United States foreign aid. Does that name anything specific? Also no. Putting America first in international environmental agreements. Doesn't really say. Unleashing American energy. Still very unclear. Ending radical and wasteful government DEI spending programs and preferencing. Doesn't really say, but I think that is, though, the writing on the wall that you could just infer a lot of that stuff. I like, though, how they put a little bit of venom in each one of these things. Ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and prefacing. Like, radical. I love it. It's just funny to see that in there. And defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth to the federal government. And then enforcing the Hyatt Amendment. So that stuff's on there. So basically, if you're counting on federal funding to get an abortion, that's not going to happen during the pause. But other than that, the individual things that are the key ones for like most folks here that are worried about it, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, that's all not affected by this pause. According to this guideline. Also not included funds for small businesses, farmers, Pell Grants, Head Start, rental assistance, and other programs. And they say, hey, if you don't know if your agency is going to be affected, reach out to OMB. And they're probably not asking for the community. They're asking for this. All right, so they're asking, are they reeling these funds back in? Is this pause of federal financial assistance an impoundment? No, it's not an impoundment under the Impoundment Control Act. It's a temporary pause to give agencies time to ensure that financial assistance conforms to the policies set out by the president's executive orders. Okay, I mean, I get it. Basically, he's saying, hey, look, let's pause all these programs that we got going on right now, except for the essential ones, like we mentioned earlier, and say, let's take a look at what we got. And let's find out if, now that we signed all these new executive orders, if the money that we have planned to spend is still, if we're allowed to spend it. Because they don't know, right? They need to go through all that stuff. I mean, granted, some of this stuff, you knew it was coming, right? It wasn't going to be a shock. But, and this is my thing about media stuff, guys. And I'm not against the media. I'm not like a conspiracy guy, any of that crazy stuff. But you can see like people trying to get whipped up into a frenzy. Like, ooh, it's so, like, why would they do that? And then like the way they put these leading things in there about like how this is the end of everything. It's terrible, all this other stuff. This is not even terrible. Like, at least for the essential stuff, right? People are still getting the stuff that they need to survive on this, right? That they're not being stripped of the basic things and things that they're using to move ahead. So it's good. So, and let's see, this is what it says at the end. Why was this pause necessary? To act as faithful stewards of taxpayer money, new administrations must review federal programs to ensure that they are being executed in accordance with the law. Yeah, that's, we actually just said that pretty much. And that makes sense. That makes total sense. But you're just not used to seeing it in order that says, nope, stop everything until we take a look at this stuff. That's mostly, and you know what, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a smart heads up thing, because I think we fall under, we make those kind of mistakes where we don't reevaluate what we are doing here in the CNMI all the time. And it's not fair to say that about everybody. I agree. But like we've said on the show a whole bunch of times, like with certain agencies, like, hey, why do we do this? And what's the purpose? Like, what's the real purpose of doing it? Because so many programs continue from administration to administration that it just kind of gets lost in why they do things. And like, what's the real purpose? Instead of just checking the box of, hey, this is what I'm supposed to do. Hey, why am I supposed to be doing this again? It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad practice. And, I mentioned MVA about that, right? It's like, we're hosting these events. That's great. Do we know why we're doing it? And are we prepared to do what we need to do? Yeah. All right. So if that's the case, sure. Then great. Fire away. Go for it. Two guns blazing. Pow, pow. So anyway, it's not the end of the world for this one here. It seems like everything's pretty good. I don't really see anything bad about this stuff. The only thing is, and essentially because of this big thing right here, everybody's still getting the stuff that they need to get to keep going, right? And I would love to be able to just highlight that properly instead of screwing it up there. So that's it. It's not a freeze on everything. Social Security's okay. Medicare's okay. Medicaid's okay. SNAP's okay. The money for small businesses, farmers, Pell Grants, Head Start, rental assistance, and other programs like that will not be paused. So, good stuff. All right, Ina, good morning. LA, great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I agree. I would like them to list which laws. I don't know that there's laws that are affected by it necessarily. I'm with you, though. I know what you're saying, I think. But, like, which specific agencies? I think it would just be such a long list. I think that's it. And I think they basically didn't sit down and knock all that stuff out. I feel like it was more one of those, all right, let's go back up to that main list. All right, we're going to get rid of all this stuff for all these different things. And then we're going to figure it out. Issue a pause, stop everything, and then afterwards, while they're still stopping everything, they did one of those where they're like, all right, hey, make sure that those people still get to eat, they don't lose their houses and stuff like that, because they're not trying to go after, that kind of stuff. All that stuff makes sense. I get it. D, good morning. Thanks for tuning in. By the way, you guys, so I don't want to just give you a healthy dose of my thoughts on it. I would really like to hear what you think about it. Just as a reminder, you could pop everything in the comments right here. If you would like to keep your opinion anonymous, if you send us a message, you can at either on the page, through our DMs on the page, or you can send it to us on the WhatsApp at 789-2323. But just tell us, be sure to tell us that you're looking to be anonymous in there. Please don't share my name, but here's what my thought is. Because if you don't put that, I'm going to be like, hey, Frank from Marpy says this. All right? So just give us a heads up that you don't want your name mentioned. The other thing is, you can give us a call. It would be great if you did. 789-2323. That's the number to call the show. And you can hop on and tell us what you think about all of this stuff. The main thing is right there. Now, in the meantime, we do have, excuse me, some, where is it? I'm looking for the clip from the Democrats, from Chuck Schumer. He had a little mini press conference where he had this to say about the whole pause.
Look, last night, President Trump plunged the country into chaos without a shred of warning. The Trump administration announced a halt to virtually all federal funds across the country. In an instant, Donald Trump has shut off billions, perhaps trillions of dollars that directly support states, cities, towns, schools, hospitals, small businesses, and most of all, American families. This, plain and simple, this is Project 2025. Project 2025 by another name. They knew how unpopular Project 2025 was, but the right-wing ideologues are still in control. So they had to do it in a different way, but it has the same consequences and will have the same horrible, negative, overwhelming reaction from the American people. And who is going to be the implementer of this? None other than the chief cook and bottle washer of Project 2025, Russell Vought.
We made very clear we were happy to join with them to find common ground on efficiency and things we could do better and ways we can save money for taxpayers. That's not what this is. They've just decided to come in because this is what he does. Chaos, see where the chips fall where they may, innocent people hurt, courts have to intervene. This is no way to govern, and it's certainly no way to govern for people who are reliant on this help.
All right. Well, you heard that. Some of this, though, I mean, I'm telling you, some of this to me just really strikes like panicky kind of stuff, and it just bothers me a little bit. Hold on, let me pause.
So this is an attempt by Donald Trump to see.
I'm gonna get this queued up so you guys can watch this. This is from a Senator Murphy who definitely does not agree with this move.
So this is an attempt by Donald Trump to seize power. That sounds like a provocative thing to say, but how else do you describe what we have watched happen over the last week? The broad immunization of political violence, the illegal firing of inspectors general there to make sure that the money of the taxpayers isn't stolen. And today, the illegal and unconstitutional decision to put the President of the United States and no one else in charge of who gets federal money and who doesn't. What President Trump is doing is seizing control of the federal budget and deciding by himself who gets money and who doesn't. For two reasons. One, he wants to bank money so that he can afford his massive tax cut for billionaires and corporations. But second, so that he can hand out money to his friends, to the companies that are run by his billionaire donors, to states that voted for him, to congressional districts with members of Congress who are loyal to him, and so that he can deny money to any organization run by Democrats, to companies that are competitors to his billionaire friends, to congressional districts represented by his political opponents. This is what a king does. This is not how a democracy works. One man does not decide how taxpayers' money is spent so that it only gets sent to the president's political friends and it gets used to punish his political enemies. The scope of the damage that will be done is enormous. To poor kids who rely on Head Start programs, to families who desperately need that cancer research done, to veterans who, if they miss one or two appointments, their life falls apart suddenly overnight. We have to understand what is happening in context, right? The president wants you to be distracted by the day-to-day announcements, but put together the pardoning of the violent rioters, the firing of the inspectors general, and today, the stoppage of federal funding, leaving the decision only to the political whims of President Trump, represents the gravest, most serious constitutional crisis of our lifetime, one that threatens to undermine the very premise of American democracy. And I'm glad to be standing here with my colleagues to raise this alarm.
I don't know. I don't see it that way. I mean, I really don't. And
Cowboys introduced their new head coach.
Hold on, Dan Patrick. That one flowed right in. But I don't see it that way. And especially, one of the things that I don't like is when something seems a little disingenuous intentionally. Like he mentioned Head Start. It just said, we just read the thing that said that Head Start's not affected by this, that those individual benefits aren't affected by this. Again, I'm not on board with everything the president does, for sure. I'm not on board with everything that he says, for sure. I feel like Ambrose, for true. But, that intentional misleading kind of stuff by folks who are, the politicians, it's just frustrating here. So, again, I'm not going to be being like, yay, go Trump, everything you do is the best thing, you're the best thing ever. No. But do I agree with a lot of that stuff? Yeah, of course, I absolutely do. Do I think it's all great? No, I don't. Do I think there's some people that are in that orbit that are pretty detestable? Absolutely, right? But, I think those are just the fringe people. But what do I know, right? What do I know? I think maybe I'm just hoping for the best, a week and a half in to the new administration, right? I mean, I think I think I could be guilty of that, of hoping for the best and waiting to see how this stuff works out. So, all right. Well, anyway, it is something that we know about already. Good morning, Alan. Thanks for tuning in. Great to see you also. It's something that we know about already. We know that the Head Start's going to be fine. Medicaid's going to be fine. Medicare's not going to be affected by any of this stuff. And that stuff is great. But there are definitely changes. And these are the things that are going to be, suffering from that pause, or at least affected by that pause. And I don't think there's going to be a lot that's going to change in the next 4 years about any of those things. But the good news is that right here, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, continuing without a pause. Funds for small businesses, farmers, Pell Grants, Head Start, rental assistance, and other programs like that, not going to be paused. And if you're running a government agency and you got questions about it, reach out to OMB. I don't think it's as dramatic as that guy just said. I don't. Because it is just a reassessment of what they've already bought in for. It's like, hey, we changed the policies, and our policies are different now. So we got to see if we're still allowed to spend all this stuff. I don't think, and if that's something that's able to happen, I mean, think of it at a local level, right? If there was all this stuff going forward in our local agencies here, and the governor, we got a new governor, and you got to have new secretaries of all the different things, all cabinet members, you're going to decide how you're going to spend things differently, And not everyone's going to be happy about that, especially the people who are on the losing side, or the people you could say the losing side, but I think more appropriately it would be people who are hoping for someone else to win, to hope that there was a different chain of spending procedures and policies. They were hoping for that continuity. Well, now it changed. And so we're going to have to see where it goes from there. Again, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I don't think it's anything to get overly dramatic about. But I think, that stuff's going to change. And that's it. So am I going to love all of them? Probably not. I'm not. I can't blanketly love everything anyway, because that seems pretty weird. All right. We're going to have Landon Aylett with us here in just about 5 minutes. Before we do that, we've got a lot of the updates. So what we like to do is give you we didn't do the 7 o'clock because we just jumped right into it. But I've got the newest update from the Associated Press, so I want to put that your way. And I got so much more to share about that press conference from the new White House press secretary, because she came out with guns blazing early, talking about like different folks that they're going to include at the White House press pool. Influencers, podcasters, you're all going to be welcome to get in once you're vetted. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Anyway, here's the latest from the Associated Press.
The White House's pause on federal grants and loans is taking effect right now as the Trump administration begins a review of its spending. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the Trump administration will be good stewards of public money.
It means no more funding for illegal DEI programs. It means no more funding for the Green New scam that has cost American taxpayers tens of billions of dollars. It means no more funding for transgenderism and wokeness across our federal bureaucracy and agencies.
The funding freeze could affect trillions of dollars. Democratic attorneys general have announced a lawsuit asking a federal judge to block the president's moves. President Trump's ban on transgender troops will face a legal challenge.
Advocacy groups are ready to file the first suit challenging President Trump's order for the Pentagon to revise its policy on transgender troops. The order likely sets up a ban on transgender service.
We will get transgender ideology the hell out of our military. It's going to be gone.
The president tried to do that in his first term. The same legal team challenging this action fought it then, tying it up in courts before President Biden scrapped the ban.
What I'm doing is enabling all qualified Americans to serve their country in uniform.
The National Center for Lesbian Rights and GLAAD Law are challenging the Trump order in federal court, arguing, among other things, it violates equal protection. Sagar Magani, Washington.
It's a waiting game for many Southern California residents. In some cases, they have been waiting for hours in their cars to get permission to return to their neighborhoods devastated by the Palisades fire. Vehicles were lined up along the Pacific Coast Highway today after all the evacuation orders were lifted. Tech stocks rebounded today on Wall Street, winning back some of yesterday's losses. This is AP News. An explosion has forced a crew to abandon a Hong Kong-flagged container ship in the Red Sea.
A container ship crew had to abandon their vessel when an explosion struck it as it was traveling north through the Red Sea. The Hong Kong-flagged ship was drifting and ablaze off the coast of Hodeidah, a port city in Yemen held by the country's Houthi rebels. The Red Sea corridor, a crucial route for energy shipments and cargo moving between Asia and Europe, has repeatedly been targeted by Houthi rebel attacks. However, rebels recently said they'd limit attacks following a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. I'm Mimi Montgomery.
Michigan Democratic Senator Gary Peters will not run for re-election next year, opening a key Senate seat in 2026. Democrats will be forced to defend an open seat in the battleground state for the second straight election cycle. I'm Mike Hempen, AP News.
Paradise Dental's giving you the gas. Well, not that kind of gas. You already know that Paradise Dental has the most affordable coverage in the entire Marianas, and now we've got something special just for new customers. And now for a limited time, Paradise Dental is offering free gas vouchers for new signups for their coverage plan. If you sign up for a singles plan, you'll get a $10 gas voucher. If you sign up for a couples plan, that's a $15 gas voucher. And if you sign up for the whole family plan, that's a $20 gas voucher right after your first visit. So hurry down to Paradise Dental and sign up for the CNMI's most affordable dental coverage today. These gas vouchers are limited, and with smiles like these, you know they're going to go fast.
Hey, I'm Coach Derek Cutting, the owner and founder of Laddie Built Fitness. So no matter who you talk to here at Laddie Built, everyone feels that they are part of a family, part of a group of like-minded people. No one feels judged. No one feels like they're being teased or picked on or looked down upon because maybe they don't know what they're doing. They could be brand new and have no idea what they're doing. They might be overweight or really skinny and feel very self-conscious about themselves. But at Laddie Built, nobody judges here. And if you ask anybody here that might be in better shape than you or even not, but has experience in the gym, they will gladly help you through a workout and teach you a few techniques that can help you. So Laddie Built organically from day one, since the boot camp era, has organically grown this fostered environment of community and being a safe place, but a strong work ethic community of people that want to get work done. All I can say is that I put my heart and soul into it from day one. I treated everyone like that at the boot camp from the very, very beginnings, and everyone at the same time would treat each other like that from the boot camp era as well. And as we grew, as we got into a brick and mortar facility, we got bigger and bigger. I feel like people definitely just take this place as a home, as like their brother and sisters are working out next to them, not their enemy or not their competitor, So organically, it's just the vibe here is different. Everyone feels very, very comfortable, and I love the fact that it happened like that.
All right, Marianas, welcome back. It is Wednesday. Holy cow, we just rocking through this week. I swear, it feels like we've been part of a brand new world for like a week and a half. All these changes keep us on our toes, find out what the heck's going on and what's happening next. And I know there's going to be stuff happening with regards to the weather here pretty soon, because we got the man, the myth, the legend standing by for us right now. We're going to give him a ring and get him on the screen with us here in just a moment. Holy cow, there he is. Landon, can you hear us?
I'm on my home turf, and I hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. I got to raise the volume up for you here, and let's bring you up on the main screen so everyone else can see you. Hey, thanks for being here with us today and cutting off the top of your head with your phone. There you go. We got. You don't have to get on the ground. That's awesome.
Is that better?
That is probably the coolest thing I've ever had happen. That is great. Hey, thanks so much for being on with us today, man. How is everything going down there in Guam?
It is great to be back. The weather is slow and boring. There's really not much going on, and that's typical of this time of the year in late January going into February. But keep in mind, the weather is fair, but not so much in the water conditions with the seas and the surf. And we're going to see those conditions increase as we go into the weekend, because those trade winds will be surging later today through Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend.
Wow. Well, the weather here seems pretty nice. I mean, we've had it pretty great up here.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And so the radar just came back online this morning with a completion of some HVAC repairs. Not much out there, just some spotty showers near Guam, and you see that we have a half butterfly over here with one wing showing. That's showing those stronger winds out over the waters, and that's just sea spray mixing up into the reflectivity of the radar beam. But up in Saipan, we're not seeing much action up here, and that's because most of the showers that are in the area of Saipan and Tinian are riding in below the radar beam. So these are shallow showers, and when they pass over, it's going to be light to moderate in intensity, and they're going to move right on by. But I'm going to flip over to the visible satellite to show the bigger picture. We do have this cluster of trade wind showers moving as a little bit of a surface trough. That's going to be pushing toward the Mariana Islands. A lot of dry air across the CNMI moving in after the morning showers. Dry air here, and we'll probably see a little uptick in showers later this evening and overnight hours. I will be back here tonight at 7 o'clock to work the night shift from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Woo.
And then I'll be here throughout the day tomorrow for some meetings typical of my position, and then another night shift tomorrow. So it's going to be a chaotic next 3 days for me. But just some spotty showers, nothing exciting. They're going to roll right on through, probably overnight tonight, and then it dries on out with strong trades through the weekend.
Wow, and we have been getting it. Like one of the things I notice normally, just from watching the regular daily weather reports, is that whenever we have wind during the day, it usually drops off at night, and then like last night, I think was it last night? It was just the same all the way through.
Yeah, and that was one thing I was looking at this morning in my chat with the point here on Guam, was that the winds are already up around 10 to 15 miles per hour this morning at the Guam airport. And so, as you said, the winds typically die down overnight. You get that nighttime cooling, the fair weather conditions. But when the winds are already continuing overnight, it's going to be cranking during the daytime with those gusty conditions. I'm pulling up the Saipan airport right now. We are showing winds. Yeah. At 7 o'clock this morning, we had a 9-mile-per-hour wind, but a 21-mile-per-hour wind gust. And that's going to continue throughout the day. So those wind gusts, they will continue. Of note, we did put out the weather outlook yesterday, and I highlighted severe drought conditions for Saipan and Tinian. The U.S. Drought Monitor, based on the dry conditions over the last several weeks, has been cranking up the drought conditions there. And so you all hit severe drought conditions by the Drought Monitor last week. And so when we're having these gusty winds, those spot fires, those brush fires, they will be a likelihood for easier spread. If people start a fire, that could get out of hand with ease. And so remember, all wildfires in the Mariana Islands, they are man-made.
Yeah, I'd like to find the silver lining in things. And when it comes to stuff like that, I think about how much better it is when it comes to me not having to cut the grass as much.
Yes, and this is the best time of the season. I only have to mow the grass every week instead of twice every week.
Yeah, for you, that's not a thing. For you, the grass cuts you because it's so big over there. I haven't seen it personally, but you have told it. You have told us.
I'm not going to show any pictures of my house right now.
I have seen. So I was at a friend's party about a month ago, and it kind of overlooks the next door neighbor's house because it's on the hill, and I definitely thought of your backyard from the way you described it, because there's a certain point after you pass the house in the backyard where this grass, anything could be in there. Like you could really, if you were to do like a remake or a period piece of like the fighting in World War II with the people going through the sugar cane and all that stuff, like that was it. That was that backyard. That's how I view your backyard.
I can sympathize with that. I will say, in my defense, within the wall, my yard is not so bad, and I actually have an avocado tree growing. It's clinging to life right now. I planted it in the ground about 3 weeks ago. I do see some new leaves starting to sprout. So that's great, and I hope maybe in 50 years I'll have some avocados growing. But outside the wall, yeah, that swordgrass, yeah, you have to look up.
Man, I'll tell you what, we have to get you to come to Saipan when you got and incorporate a little bit of free time. It doesn't have to be like one of your cool adventure trips, but if you come to Saipan and get you over on a Saturday so you could do the hash run and go through the jungle over here, and it's not as crazy as what you guys do. We call us, compared to Guam,
it'd be a hash walk.
A hash walk is fine, but they call it the kindler, gentler hash. And we go through all kinds of different places all over. But when you said avocado trees, we've done the hash through all kinds of different places where, I mean, there's just rando fruit trees and food trees, I should say, all over Saipan on public land and all that stuff out
And
there.
we need so much more of that. My gosh, I'm thinking when I'm planning these things, this is like free food, and
Mm-hmm.
you can go to the store and pay how much money for lemons and oranges and other citrus, pineapples and avocado. Well, we can grow them, and so if we can have more local produce and more local fruit trees, that's a win for everybody.
Oh, that's my favorite time is around April and May, like mango season. And
Yeah.
because we go down, there's a ton of mango trees all around. We've got a smaller one right by the house. But down by some of the beaches that we know, it's not right there, so not everybody sees them, but you can see them. You just got to walk in to get to them. And there's millions of them out there. And so we'll fill up all the coolers and all that other stuff, like the softback coolers, and then
Oh my goodness.
bring them home, peel them, and freeze them, and then you got stuff all year round. It's
I
amazing.
definitely I want you to take me back there when I come up for a visit.
It's got to be that season, though, right? I mean, it's not like you're hunting out of season, but I mean, they just don't grow. Also, and avocados too. It sounds so great. And then the other thing is that people have so many of them at their house, they want to give them away. So you need to make sure that you have a good network of people with those trees at their place.
And see, the thing is, I don't even like avocado, so I'm going to try to teach myself to force it and to like it, because if I'm growing it for free, I do want to be able to enjoy it.
Yes.
But like tomatoes, I don't like tomatoes, but the pleasure of picking it, growing it, and giving it to people to enjoy, I enjoy that.
Well, I think one of the other things you might enjoy is finding it in your backyard.
Yes.
Being able to find where it is. I talk a lot of smack. I haven't even seen it.
It's a scavenger hunt.
That's it. Awesome. We lost some good kids last year. That
In the
scavenger
meantime,
hunt.
I still have chocolates growing on my desk.
Oh,
so
man.
Whenever you're on Guam, just come over for a visit. I got all kinds of good stuff.
I will. You know what? I admire you, your ability to not eat that at one setting. Like, I've seen people that have like those jars of like the peanut M&Ms. Forget it. Like, why? Like, why would you even put that there if you're not planning on finishing it in one day?
How did you know I didn't refill it this morning?
Oh, well, it doesn't matter. That whole bag's going to go through. Like, I used to, all right, so funny story. I used to work at the phone company, and the lady who sat next to me was the nicest. And she would always have those little Hershey's, the nugget things, right? The little rectangle things. They're not the Hershey Kisses. They're like the blocks. Do you have those in there?
Like these?
No, those are like the little candy bars, right? I'm talking about the ones with the gold wrappers and the silver wrappers.
Like those?
No, but no, those are all great. You're not
I'm
helping.
going deeper. Like this?
No, but those are great too. And if you're going to have those cookies, you need to have milk.
I'm diving to a lot of bad habits in my file cabinets right now.
Yeah. We're going to be going from the National Weather Service to the National Weight Watching Service here.
We're going to be eating really well around here in a little while.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, by the way, you guys did have a big, and for folks who weren't there when we were in Guam in December and we got to check everything out, these guys do not mess around. They're there. They've got people there at 2 o'clock in the morning to start smoking meat for the food that they're going to have.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Our electronic technician staff, they are some of the best cooks. Our IT guy is from Louisiana. He loves nothing more better than meat. And so when we have a potluck, we really show up and we throw down. All the horizontal surfaces in our conference room are covered in food.
Man, it's a great conference room too. Just not if you want to have good connection with cellular service.
The signal is no good.
Yeah, but who cares when you got that kind of food? All right, Landon, anything new and exciting going on in your world?
That's about it. And I do need to send you some more video from last week with the snow. We had 5.8 inches of snow in Elizabeth City as official record. For me, living in Elizabeth City, that is the deepest snow I've ever seen in my hometown.
Wow.
Which is pretty sad. Some of the biggest snows in my lifetime have been since I came to the Pacific. So I was excited to be there for that. We had fun. We took a four-wheeler out and we're pulling a sled behind a four-wheeler in the snow. I didn't go. I didn't have the clothing for it, but my cousin did. And I'll send that video.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see it. Excuse me. That will be outstanding. How are you adjusting to tropical life now? It looks like you're bundled up for the winter in your office.
It gets chilly in my office, and plus I'm not of typical work attire. I'm actually in a t-shirt and gym shorts right now because I'm not really here today, but I will be back later tonight. But adjusting back to the climate, really not that bad. It's just catching up on odds and ends in the office, a lot of training requirements, and also shift work coming up. But yeah, it's just good to get back in sync.
Wow, awesome. All right, well, let's meet up again next week. Talk some weather. Yes. Hopefully it's all good stuff again. And well, we know that you left all the snow behind with you in the mainland. You didn't bring it back with us, and it didn't turn into rain. So.
Yeah, that's correct. And no tropical cyclone threats for our region. It's just status quo, dry weather season. But keep in mind the drought, the wildfire threat, and seas and surf concerns through the weekend.
Well, all that stuff is something that we'll keep in mind, and but right now we're just going to keep enjoying this weather because it's been. Oh, hey, do you follow the whales and the migration of the whales or anything?
I saw something about that. I saw some video, I think, from your page.
Yeah,
it's really fascinating to see that. It's not too often we see that.
Yeah, we definitely don't see it often. That's my third time in like 22 years that I've been able to see it. And again, right place, right time. The first time. We were in that same area by Pow Pow Beach. It was at Kensington before it was Kensington. And we finished a mountain bike race and we did the awarding up on the upper parking lot, up on top of the hill on the upper parking lot. And we saw it and we're blown away. And then the other time was 5 years ago. We were going to Tinian for the Pika Fest. And we were taking a big ship going out of the channel on our way to Tinian. And we saw the humpbacks breaching just on the other side of Managaha. And I just was amazing. And I sent that footage in to the news so that they put it up there on the broadcast too. It was just really cool stuff.
You have to fight the urge to want to just jump out there and swim with them.
So they were really close to the reef. And so I started making my way out there. I had no intention of going out there like, let me see if I can translate this. No, I'm not.
That's offensive right there. No.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, hey, thanks again for making time for us to let us know what's going on with the weather and everything else.
Absolutely. See you next week, Brad.
All right, take care. That's Landon Aylett from the National Weather Service, our coolest meteorologist friend that we ever met in our entire lives, and he's here with us. And he's doing this with us every week. It's the greatest thing. All right, well, we're going to move on. We've got other stuff that we're going to get to today to let you know about cool things that are happening here in the Marianas. So we can get back to some of the stuff that we didn't even finish. But like I mentioned, the press conference, the new press secretary came out, and here's a little bit of how that started today.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are we? Good to see all of you. It's an honor to be here with all of you. A lot of familiar faces in the room, a lot of new faces. And President Trump is back, and the golden age of America has most definitely begun. Before I take your questions, I would like to point out to all of you once again have access to the most transparent and accessible president in American history. There has never been a president who communicates with the American people and the American press corps as openly and authentically as the 45th and now 47th President of the United States.
When you're up here in this briefing room speaking to the American public, do you view yourself and your role as advocating on behalf of the president or providing the unvarnished truth that is, not to lie, not to obfuscate to the American people?
I commit to telling the truth from this podium every single day. I commit to speaking on behalf of the President of the United States. That is my job. And I will say it's very easy to speak truth from this podium when you have a president who is implementing policies that are wildly popular with the American people, and that's exactly what this administration is doing. It's correcting the lies and the wrongs of the past 4 years, many of the lies that have been told to your faces in this very briefing room. I will not do that. But since you brought up Truth Seek, I would like to point out While I vowed to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there is misinformation about this White House. So yes, I will hold myself to the truth, and I expect everyone in this room to do the same.
All right, well, that's how they came out and started going. I'm looking up something. Sorry about that little break there. I'm looking specifically to share some stuff with you that we got from different folks with regards to that hiring pause. So just one moment. It was really kind of neat because of this, we reached out to, here's the one from our governor. Great. And then, yeah, it's the first time that we ended up doing this, but we reached out to Crystal Paco, St. Augustine, and she's our friend. We've known her for years and years and years and years. And so we said, hey, we're doing this NMI news service stuff over here. Could we get, hold on, let me put this back. I'm in the wrong spot there. Can we get on your distro list for everything that you're doing here? Documents, let me go to Guam, sorry. And she's like, yeah, boom, make it happen. So she's the press secretary for Governor Lou Leon Guerrero in Guam. And then she got us on their media distro list, which I'm going to put on here. Slide this over here and click it open. So let's talk about these real quick. All right, so let me move this over to get that out of the way. Kapow. All right, so the share screen. So here's what we got yesterday. Let me put something on here, by the way. Boom, boom, boom. All right, different background music. Here we go. So this is what we got from Governor Lou Leon Guerrero about it. Again, this was yesterday as everything's happening. I expect that we're going to end up getting new things from folks as this goes on. So the Office of the Governor is actively reviewing the implications of the memorandum from OMB, as referenced in the national media reports, which outline the freeze in federal assistance programs. While the full scope and details remain unclear, we're taking immediate steps to understand its potential impact. All agency leaders who manage federal programs have been directed to seek technical assistance, so they told them to go out to the OMB also. I also said at this time, due to the recent release of the memo, we're unable to provide specific answers regarding individual programs, just like we mentioned. So luckily, yesterday, there's a lot of people who didn't know what was going on. Governor Palacios, same thing. This is from our governor. Said, hey, like many other leaders from all around, we're carefully reviewing the memo, which temporarily pauses obligations and or disbursements of federal financial grants and funding assistance potentially affected by recent executive orders. They were assessing all this stuff too. So thankfully, though, they were able to get this word out. We even got something from our Congresswoman as well. And she was saying that, let's see if I could skip to part of it. Yeah, there we go. So Congresswoman Kimberly King Hines issued a statement today addressing the concerns over the Trump administration's announcement of a temporary pause on financial assistance programs as outlined in a memorandum from OMB. The memorandum directs federal agencies to halt obligations and disbursements of federal grants, loans, and financial assistance while the administration reviews programs to align with its priorities. Kind of what we were saying. And here's the quote from the Congresswoman. The pause on federal loans and grants announced today by the Trump administration had certainly caused concern among the community. CNMI is heavily reliant on federal assistance, and this reliance has only deepened as we await the recovery for our economy. While this pause is framed as temporary, it speaks to the challenges we face as a community that depends on consistent federal support for critical programs and services. That's a great point. That is 100% on point. Congresswoman King Hines acknowledged the administration's efforts to refine federal spending, but emphasized the need for clarity and the potential impact on vital programs in the Northern Marianas. She says, President Trump has been actively establishing his vision for the country through numerous executive orders, more than 24 since his inauguration. This is the prerogative of the president up to a point. Congress retains the power of the purse, and checks and balances are in place to limit deviations from legislatively mandated funding policies. Let's see. The Congresswoman expects the administration to clarify the scope of the executive action in the coming days. We do not know the specifics right now, but I'm confident that many of the critical programs in the CNMI merit passing any review by the White House, as they are vital to the success of our Commonwealth and its people. She said to address potential delays or challenges, she's encouraged all grant, just like what it says in the thing, saying, hey, stay informed and reach out, as they say in the executive order. She said, we'll do the same, and we're committed to working alongside with everyone to address any potential delays and minimize disruptions to the services that are provided to the community. And said, hey, reach out to her office if you've got any questions about it. So there we go. And then she reaffirmed her dedication to advocating for the people of the CNMI, stating that ensuring stability for our residents and safeguarding the programs they rely on during this transition will require active communication with the Trump administration. And that is what I will commit myself and the office to doing. Vote, vote, vote. I started slipping into a little Richard Nixon. Ensuring the stability and residents and safeguarding programs. Sorry, just for the voices, guys. Just voices. All right, so got what do we got here? Just got this. Yeah. So that's a district court. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to end up happening here, and so let's find out who this is. All right, so this is an interesting story. Let me see if I can find this on the Associated Press also. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Federal judge temporarily blocks Trump's federal funding freeze. There it is. So thanks for sending me that link on Politico. This is the one from the Associated Press. This is where I get where we get most of our stuff. And let me see if they have a report on it real quick.
Disruptive actions since taking office today. He's pausing federal funding for grants, loans, and other initiatives, and he's reviewing all the spending in hopes of complying with executive orders. This is part of the president's goal of erasing what he calls woke ideology from the federal government. It's unclear how deep this could go and what the ripple effects could be, because they haven't provided any specifics yet. There's concerns that this could affect education programs, healthcare spending, other social services, and we're still waiting for more details from the administration on what exactly they're doing and what their goals are. But this could affect trillions of dollars in federal spending and has caused a lot of alarm around Washington and around the country as well, given how many people rely on the federal government for its money. Democrats have called the president's move illegal and capricious. They're saying that he's refusing to spend money that has been legally authorized by Congress, and this could lead to more court battles that could be a defining feature of the president's second term in office.
So I thought that was going to be an update on. I thought that was going to be the update on this. So let me read you this. This is from the Associated Press. Hot off the presses. It says federal judge has temporarily blocked a Trump administration freeze on federal grants and loans that could cost trillions of dollars and cause disruptions. Okay. So that, by the way, that's editorialism. You just put that in there. All right, so a federal judge has temporarily blocked the Trump administration freeze on federal grants and loans. White House had planned to enforce the pause Tuesday, or Wednesday, today, as the administration begins an across-the-board ideological review of its spending. So here's the latest. I want to see, give me the details. Okay, here's what does the judge's ruling do. U.S. District Judge Lauren L. Ali Khan blocked that action Tuesday afternoon, minutes before it was set to go into effect. The administrative stay pauses the freeze at least until Monday. What could be impacted by it? Well, a lot of it's pretty vague, but like what we talked about today, it says Trump administration officials said the programs that provide direct assistance to Americans would not be affected, such as Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, student loans, food stamps, just like we said. But then the rest of it's pretty vague. And then they offer some other things about why they're doing this. There's a bunch of other things on here. But that's the main thing. So basically, a judge blocked it at least until Monday while they review how that's going to go. I wonder if we can actually get the judge's ruling. Let me see if I can find it here. That's the big one, so we can look at it specifically. Yeah, this is it, but where is the actual... This is just another story on it, and it's good. It's more in depth. Boy, oh boy, I really want the actual order. So it says they planned... Man, like, I don't like this editorialism. I'm reading the story. This is where I have a hard time with it. So the Associated Press for me is like the way I viewed CNN in the 90s, right? Before they got into the infotainment, like Fox News and CNN when they got out of that infotainment kind of thing, where they would just have talk shows that champion one ideology over the other and made that the news story, which I think is garbage. They used to just be news. Talk about news. And that's how I view Associated Press. But, man, I could see some of these things creeping into the Associated Press about those kind of things. So, like, let's dissect, like, these first couple sentences. A federal judge on Tuesday temporarily blocked a push from President Donald Trump to pause federal funding while his administration conducts an across-the-board ideological review to uproot progressive initiatives. The Trump administration plan purged the United States government into panic and confusion and set the stage for a constitutional clash over control of taxpayer money. Panic and confusion, come on. I mean, like, that seems a little overly dramatic. Like, why are you getting in there? And so that's it. The only people who would be panicked by that are overly dramatic folks anyway. So I just my take. You know, and I wish that they didn't have that kind of stuff in there. You know, I don't want to steer people into, I don't want to steer anybody into that thing. By the way, that was a little bit much. Sorry, guys. How about here? I got to have something going on in the background, and I changed all these things. Ina, great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. That's right. Biba Tandung Pedro Tudela 2026. There you go. That is right. For council, for life. All right. So that's the latest. That's the newest one. That the pause is paused. The pause is paused. So good to know. Here, I'll put that on the main page for us too, so people can see that. Oh man, there's a lot going on today. Hold on. Today is Chinese New Year, and we did get a message about it. Hold on 1 second. Bum bum bum. Opening up the messages real quick. No, I missed it. I didn't see it. Sorry, somebody sent me something. What time is this? 10 a.m. All right, so we're going to wrap up at 9, and we're going to go do some of the Chinese New Year festivities that are happening this morning. Looking forward to that. And that should be a lot of fun. Hold on. I'm going to put this on on our main page. 1 second. While you guys are watching me do this here, the pause is paused. Wait. Until Monday. There you go. What else is going on? Hey, we got I gotta share this with you guys. This is awesome. Let me open this up and show you guys. We have a traffic report from Tinian. Heavy traffic along Broadway in Tinian this morning. That is a traffic report. You see a couple of vehicles and as a moving violation. You can tell they were watching the show too. I love it. Thank you, Sean, for sending that our way. The Tinian traffic report. provided by Star Marianas. They don't just fly above the roads. They're down there with you. All right. Ooh, actually, you know, I got some traffic going on from the veterans group about reaching out for some of these things too. So I'll be reaching out to those guys as well. All right, guys. Well, it's 8:47 in the morning. I've got more stuff I could tell you about, but question is, what do we want to get to first? Because a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, at least we're good on these things. Let's see, which is this one? No, we're going to skip over that. That's not as exciting. Here's one for Coca-Cola. I don't know about you guys, if you like it, if you're, cow crossing is right. Yes, Louisa, I will be at the game tonight, for sure. I have to be. Last night, I ended up, I didn't leave the studio till probably 10:30, I think. I mean, I was here really working on stuff because we had the folks from NM Posse coming in today to do Advocacy Amplified. And I want to try out some of the equipment, see if it would be compatible with that setup over there. And I'm really excited for it. And trying to figure it out. Also, for news releases, when we put stuff up, I saw Tomas did this like cool new format that is very subtle, and I love it. So I want to try it. And so I got a bunch of our licensed footage to try doing the same thing. It's going to take a little bit longer for me to put it up, but I like the way it looks. I mean, I think it looks pretty neat. So it's we'll see it. We'll try it out when the next news stories come out. In fact, maybe this one about the pause will be where I'll do it. I'll break up now and do that for you. What else is new? Oh, so this thing about Coca-Cola. So this is in Europe. It says Coca-Cola issues a safety recall of soft drinks in Europe over chemical chlorate concerns. I don't know what that is. But it says Coca-Cola has recalled some of its drinks in Europe after higher than normal levels of a chemical called chlorate were detected in bottles and cans at its production plant in Belgium. Batches of Coca-Cola, Fanta, Sprite, Minute Maid, and Fuse Tea were among the products recalled in Belgium, Luxembourg, and Netherlands, the company said on Tuesday. The recall concerns drinks with the production codes of 32AGE to 33AGE. So that's not us here, so don't worry. But it says chlorate comes from chlorine disinfectants, which are used in the treatment of water used for food processing. The chemical has been linked to potentially serious health problems, notably among children, by interfering with proper functioning of the thyroid gland. Well, now you know. All right, well, at least we're not in Europe dealing with that stuff, so that's good. I know we drink a lot of that stuff. Boom, boom, boom. Let me see if there's anything else I could throw your way that you might be interested in. And I think that's pretty much it for today because I want to get a head start on getting ready for our folks over there with NM Posse and then for Chinese New Year celebration stuff. Boom. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I will close out with the heads up on the video from the White House about the all the things that are affected. Hold on one second. This way so people can definitely have no questions. Oh, this is interesting. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Check this out.
Trump is everywhere again.
Oh my. Okay, we're going to send this. Okay, I'm going to show you this. This was how she came out firing. This is our new press secretary for the governor. Not for the governor, for the president. Hold on one second.
President Trump has held multiple news conferences, gaggled on Air Force One multiple times, and sat down for a 2-part interview on Fox News, which aired last week. As Politico summed it up best, Trump is everywhere again. And that's because President Trump has a great story to tell about the legendary American revival that is well underway.
Legendary.
And in keeping with this revolutionary media approach that President Trump deployed during the campaign,
nothing quite like
the
it.
Trump White House will speak to all media outlets and personalities, not just the legacy media who are seated in this room. Because according to recent polling from Gallup, Americans' trust in mass media has fallen to a record low. Millions of Americans, especially young people, have turned from traditional television outlets and newspapers to consume their news from podcasts, blogs, social media, and other independent outlets. It's essential to our team that we share President Trump's message everywhere and adapt this White House to the new media landscape in 2025. To do this, I'm excited to announce the following changes will be made to this historic James S. Brady briefing room, where Mr. Brady's legacy will endure. This White House believes strongly in the First Amendment, so it's why our team will work diligently to restore the press passes of the 440 journalists whose passes were wrongly revoked by the previous administration. We're also opening up this briefing room to new media voices who produce news-related content and whose outlet is not already represented by one of the seats in this room.
Sounds like us.
We welcome independent journalists, podcasters,
Yes.
social media influencers,
Yes.
and content creators to apply for credentials to cover this White House. And you can apply now on our new website, whitehouse.gov/new media.
That's us.
Starting today, this seat in the front of the room, which is usually occupied by the press secretary's staff, will be called the new media seat. My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex. So in light of these announcements, our first questions for today's briefing will go to these new media members whose outlets, despite being some of the most viewed news websites in the country, have not been given seats in this room.
Yes.
And before I turn to questions, I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office from President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones.
All right, hold on. We'll play that in a second. And Vincent Raymond, I don't know if you're out there today, but this was a question that you asked about a long time ago. So here's the one about the drones.
After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy. A statement from the President of the United States to start this briefing with some news. And with that, I will turn it over to questions. And we will begin with our new media members, Mike Allen from Axios, Matt Boyle from Breitbart. Mike, why don't you go ahead?
All right, well, before we do any of that, yes, could you imagine we end up getting President Trump on the show, on NMI News Service to do an interview? That would be awesome and hilarious, I think. Let's find out. Hold on, wait. Because I want to see, do I have it? I know I have it on the other computer. I definitely 100% have it on the other computer. Do I have it here? I don't think so. Darn it. Oh, that's too bad. All of the, just give me a second. Bear with me. I just want to see if I might have it just in a different listing over here. No, this would be the interview stuff, right? No. So it was the, let me see. Let me try it under here. No, but that's great. How about here? No, I don't have it on this one. It's a shame. It's a shame. I'm telling you, it's a shame. All the people. No, so what it is, it was the interview that. Ooh, that's from July. Is that it? Where is this? Oh no, that's from.
If you want to really see something.
No, that's different. But anyway, going back to what it was, I had it from the. Is it possible under there? No, it's not. Anyway, I got it on the other computer. It's the audio stuff that I had from when President Trump, after the election 4 years ago, was having that conversation with the Attorney General out of Georgia, Brad so-and-so. And he just kept saying, well, come on, Brad. This. If I had that handy right now, this would be the best timing for it. But it's not. It's gone. It's over. It's all done. Let's get to that part where she was talking about the benefits.
Very
again.
knowledgeable on this subject, and his team.
Expand upon what steps the White House is going to take to bring more voices, not less.
It is. I take great courage. Anybody in this country, whether you are a TikTok or creating news.
The first 100 days moves along here and beyond that.
Absolutely. There's no doubt President Trump has always been the hardest working man in politics. I commit to telling the truth from this podium every single day. I commit to speaking on behalf of the President of the United States. That is my job. And I will say it's very easy to speak truth from this podium when you have a president who is implementing policies that are wildly popular with the American people.
Louisa, what happened to your comment? I have no idea what happened. No idea what happened. You shouldn't be getting kicked for anything. All right, this guy. All right, guys. Anyway, let's get back to it. Let's hear what we got. And you shouldn't be getting kicked for anything.
And that's exactly what this administration is doing. It's correcting the lies and the wrongs of the past 4 years, many of the lies that have been told to your faces in this very briefing room. I will not do that. But since you brought up Truth Seek, I would like to point out, while I vowed to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there is misinformation about this White House. So yes, I will hold myself to the truth, and I expect everyone in this room to do the same.
And Caroline, just on a substantive question.
Here's the big one. This is the
White House
question
Office of
about the
Management and
benefits for
Budget
the OMB.
across the board, freeze, with some exceptions for individual assistance, we understand, to federal grants. It's caused a lot of confusion around the country among Head Start providers, among providers services to homeless veterans, Medicaid providers, states saying they're having trouble accessing the portal. Could you help us clear up some of the confusion, give some certainty to folks, and also, is that uncertainty, how does that uncertainty service the president's voters?
Well, I think there's only uncertainty in this room amongst the media. There's no uncertainty in this building. So let me provide the certainty and the clarity that all of you need. This is not a blanket pause on federal assistance and grant programs from the Trump administration. Individual assistance, that includes, I'm not naming everything that's included, but just to give you a few examples, Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, food stamps, welfare benefits, assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted by this pause. And I want to make that very clear to any Americans who are watching at home who may be a little bit confused about some of the media reporting. This administration, if you are receiving individual assistance from the federal government, you will still continue to receive that. However, it is the responsibility of this president and this administration to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. That is something that President Trump campaigned on. That's why he has launched DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, who is working alongside OMB. And that's why OMB sent out this memo last night, because the president signed an executive order directing OMB to do just this. And the reason for this is to ensure that every penny that is going out the door is not conflicting with the executive orders and actions that this president has taken. So what does this pause mean? It means no more funding for illegal DEI programs. It means no more funding for the Green New scam that has cost American taxpayers tens of billions of dollars. It means no more funding for transgenderism and wokeness across our federal bureaucracy and agencies. No more funding for Green New Deal social engineering policies. Again, people who are receiving individual assistance, you will continue to receive that. And President Trump is looking out for you by issuing this pause because he is being good steward of your taxpayer dollars.
Thanks, Caroline.
Sure.
How long is this pause going to last, and how is the Trump administration recommending that organizations that rely on federal funding make payroll, pay their rent in the meantime?
It is a temporary pause, and the Office of Management and Budget is reviewing the federal funding that has been going out the door. Again, not for individual assistance, but for all of these other programs that I mentioned. I also spoke with the incoming director of OMB this morning, and he told me to tell all of you that the line to his office is open for other federal government agencies across the board, and if they feel that programs are necessary and in line with the president's agenda, then the Office of Management and Budget will review those policies. I think this is a very responsible measure. Again, the past 4 years, we've seen the Biden administration spend money like drunken sailors. It's a big reason we've had an inflation crisis in this country, and it's incumbent upon this administration to make sure, again, that every penny is being accounted for honestly.
Why impose this pause with so little notice? Why not give organizations more time to plan for the fact that they are about to lose, in some cases, really crucial federal funding, at least for a period of time?
There was notice. It was the executive order that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring, as you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working. And their tax dollars actually matter to this administration. You know, just during this pause, DOJ and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. DOJ and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on, being good stewards of tax dollars.
And so this doesn't affect Meals on Wheels or Head Start or disaster aid?
Again, it does not affect individual assistance that's going to Americans.
To follow up on Nancy, do you think there will be a list of who is affected and how much money is affected? How will these contractors and organizations know if they are actually having their funding frozen? And then secondly, if you're willing, can you just clarify, is the end goal of this to essentially challenge Congress or to prove that the president can withhold federal funding? In other words, is this an attempt to pick a fight to prove that he can do this?
No, absolutely not. As it says right here in the memo, which I have, and I'd encourage all of you to read it, it says the American people elected President Trump to be the president of the United States and gave him a mandate to increase the impact of every federal dollar. This memo requires federal agencies to identify and review all federal financial assistance programs and supporting activities consistent with the president's policies and requirements. The American people gave President Trump an overwhelming mandate on November 5th, and he's just trying to ensure that the tax money going out the door in this very bankrupt city actually aligns with the will and the priorities of the American people. So will there be a line?
Yes. Welcome. You look great. You're doing a great job. You talked about transparency, and some of us in this room know how just transparent President Trump has been the last 5 or 6 years.
Wait, hold on. I can't. That sounds so weird, doesn't it? Though, like, I get it if this guy is like friends with her or something, but like, hey, you look great. You're doing a great job. Hold on. Let me pull this back. 42. Think a little bit sooner, just in case. Here we go.
Actually aligns with the will and the priorities of the American people.
Okay, so she's about to take this comment. All right, so this is what I thought was interesting. It's a nice, friendly gesture, but it sounds really weird to talk to somebody who's a press secretary like this. Hold on one second.
Will there be a line?
Yes. Welcome. You look great. You're doing a great job. You talked about transparency, and some of us in this room know how just transparent President Trump has been.
I can't believe he was able to pull that out of his mouth to be able to say that first. Because that's what it sounds like. Hold on. Let's keep going.
The last 5 or 6 years, I think you'll do the same. My question is, do you think this latest incident with the president of Colombia is indicative of the global, powerful respect they have for President Trump moving forward, not only to engage in economic diplomacy with these countries, but also world peace?
Absolutely. I'll echo the answer that the president gave on Air Force One last night when he was asked a very similar question by one of your colleagues in the media. This signifies peace through strength is back. And this president will not tolerate illegal immigration into America's interior. And he expects every nation on this planet, again, to cooperate with the repatriation of their citizens who illegally entered into our country and broke America's laws won't be tolerated. And as you saw, the Colombian government quickly folded and agreed to all of President Trump's demands. Flights are underway once again.
So I just want to talk about like how you present yourself on something like that. I don't disagree. I think the immigration stuff is great. I don't have any issue with it at all. But like when you're like, yeah, see, we just punked Colombia. What? I'm like, that's how you're going to be. That's how you're going to talk about it. Yeah, that's right, Colombia. You're flexing on Colombia. All right, let's see if you can do it against the big players, though, right? I mean, we start small. We're stomping them. We're stomping them. Like, come on, guys. It's cool. I'm telling you, but like flexing on it is not the coolest thing. That would be like, I don't know, the Chiefs saying, yeah, we just beat, I don't know, pick a small school. We just beat Jackson State. What? Okay, I get it. They're doing stuff, but like I wouldn't talk smack about it. You know, you're not encouraging people to rally to your side. You just want to get them to be on your team. I mean, that's cool, and you don't have to like take everybody's. I don't know. I think is that you're not going to engender friendship and partnerships in the region by like flexing on little countries. No, you're going to do fear, and fear is kind of a dick move. I mean, it's not helping anybody. Again, so like just neighbors going by. But I'm not on board with all of that stuff that they're saying. But some of it I am. Like, I do like the immigration reform. I think it's outstanding. I think it's long overdue. But, you know, say, hey, you're not going to take them. Well, then, all right, we're not going to trade with you. All right, well, then we're going to trade it with you. I'm like, okay, so we'll take them. We'll take them. All right, cool. And then that's it. Like, I think the real way you do it, you act like an adult. You say, after negotiations and conversations with the government of Colombia, we have come up with a solution that works best for both of us, and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's it, right? Not like, hey, as you saw, remember when I pushed that kid down in the sand and kicked sand in his face? Yeah, take it. Just, come on. It's great. It's going to be entertaining for me for years, at least 4 years. We'll see how it works out. And we will see how it works out. Again, I'm part of the we'll see team. I'm not worried about everything else. I'm part of the we'll see team. All right, so I know from the way I did this yesterday, and I didn't do it again today, that I'm at least queued up for it now. But we're going to wrap up. It is 9:10, and we're going to go head out and help get ready for our NM Posse team that's coming in here. Again, they'll be here 2 o'clock, Advocacy Amplified. Love these guys. I'm so glad that we get to do this with them. And, it's also Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year. It starts today here in the CNMI, and it's going to be pretty awesome. So go out, have fun, have a great day, and we'll be back again tomorrow morning for Good Morning Marianas.
Good morning, Marianas. So many things we got to discuss. Happy day, Tirawamian greetings. To Rhoda, Guam, Sabin, and Tinian. For all your island news. From a beautiful place with Pacific views. It's always so much fun on Good Morning Marianas.
Wait, maybe I lied. I'm sticking around. I got a press release. I am staying. I'm opening it up right now. All right, don't go anywhere. I mean, you can if you want to. But I've got a press release that just came in from the Congresswoman's office. So let's get something going on in the background over here. Here. All right, here we go. Here we go. This is the Federal Financial Assistance Freeze. This came out just a few minutes ago with some clarifications. All right, so it's based on the same thing that we presented to you guys today. And we'll put this stuff out there. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, these are the two things that we just talked about. And again, we just downloaded it as well. Show in folder. Let's open this bad boy up. Here we go. Here. This is from our Congresswoman, Kimberly King Hines, providing a clarification. So you guys don't have to wait now. It's not formatted anything special, though. So, sorry. You're going to be looking, like, by the way, they give us, here's how I can do this to make sure I can get the rest of that. They're sending us stuff over as like Word documents, which is so weird. It's that it's not a PDF or anything. I mean, granted, it's helpful, but here we go. All right, so this is fresh off the presses from our U.S. Congresswoman, Kimberly King Hines. I'll read it to you. So sit down, kids. Get ready for this. All right, it says, Congresswoman King Hines gives an update on the Trump administration's grant freeze. It says, today, Congresswoman Kimberly King Hines announced which federal grant assistance programs for the CNMI will be affected by the freeze. She says, hey, I know many of us in the CNMI have been worried after the OMB announced it was freezing federal assistance. I want to thank everyone for being patient while I sought the answers to your questions as to what exactly was affected by the grant freeze. It's been my priority to find the answers to how this impacts our community. So this is the stuff that we talked about this morning. Here's the things that will not be affected: Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, Section 8 housing, Pell Grants and student aid, food stamps, and aid to small businesses and farmers. The financial assistance freeze will affect those that come into conflict with President Trump's previously signed executive orders. These are all the things that we talked about before. It says the administration is using the temporary pause to review programs and effectively allocate funds to programs deemed in line with the president's priorities. Although OMB has not stated how long the process of re-examining the programs and agencies will take, we're working quickly to determine which programs are inconsistent with the president's executive orders. They said they could complete the process in as little as 1 day. All right, and then if you've got any questions about it, you can call her office as it's located down there. But, as we reported earlier, that there's a federal judge has placed that on hold until Monday at least, right? So it's great that we've got all this stuff. Is this anything new? No, this is the same thing from yesterday, too. So, all right, now we're officially done. Now we're really going to go. You guys have a great day. We're halfway through the week, and I can't imagine. I think every day is going to be more exciting. All right, you guys. Have a great one. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Good morning, Marianas. Yeah,